In this video, we're going to look at some of the new features in version 3.0. Primarily, we're going to look at adding multiple readers to your laptop. So first, we're going to go to Options. And when you do that, you'll see a list where you can add more than one reader. You can have an unlimited number, really. The recommended hardware to use is a router. Now, I'm not a network guy, I'm not a hardware guy, so I actually went out and bought something before I talked to my network guy, and I actually bought a switch. And so I had a little difficulty. I had so many readers here, I think 5 or 6, that I connected to my laptop through the switch, and some of them were set to use static IPs while others were set to use dynamic IPs, and so not all the readers could see each other. Or something like that anyways, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I found out that I probably should have used a router, and it would have been a little easier. And so, let me think here. So if you only have one reader, it's really simple. All you do, it's called DHCP. That's where the reader gets an IP address from the machine if you hook it up directly up to the laptop. So most of the time, if you only have one reader, and even if you have 2 or more, most of the time you're not going to have to worry about doing an IP address. You will just, the 7400 has a sticker, so you will just type in the host name that is on the sticker on the top of the reader. If there's not a sticker on the top of it, all you do is type in FX7400 and then the last 6 digits of the MAC address. And you can find the MAC address on the bottom of the reader on the little sticker there. Now, what I just said, you can also read by clicking this little question mark symbol, and that'll also tell you how to find it. So the host name has been really, fine for me. If you wanted to use the IP address, which I think is the recommended way for Motorola, because that's something that if your laptop is set to use a static IP and also the readers are, then you shouldn't have any problem at all ever just connecting. It should be quick and easy. But on the front end, it's just easier for me to use the host name because it's easy to find. It's no problem. You don't have to know any kind of networking at all. You just type in what the host name says it is, and you're ready to go. Now, if you have a device, I think like the XR series readers from Motorola and Alien readers may also be this way, where you can't, you can't use like the device description like FX7400 plus the last 6 of the MAC. Some devices you actually have to figure out the IP address, and you have to use the IP address with them. And unfortunately, that's a little bit complicated. The XR series readers, what I had to do is I had to download a program called TerraTerm. There's also a similar program called PuTTY, and the way they both work very similar. The way it works is you would have to get if your laptop doesn't have a serial port or connection on it, which it probably doesn't, then you'll have to buy a USB to serial cable. And now the FX7400, by the way, it doesn't have a serial cable on it. There is a default IP. I can't remember what it is. It's in the documentation. If you Google search any of the readers you have and download the PDF documents with that reader, they all show what their default IP address is. And it also shows you how to connect to the reader with the serial cable. So I would definitely find those documents. You're going to want to download a program like TerraTerm or PuTTY, and then inside those documents it'll tell you what information to type in when it comes to the baud rate and everything else. I think for Alien it was 115.200, and I think for Motorola it was 57.600. However, once you type in the right information, your reader's attached to your laptop. All you have to do then is power off the reader and power it back on, and you'll see a bunch of gibberish coming on the screen here. And that gibberish at the end of it will tell you what the IP address is, and it'll give you the option to change it and do anything else. But once you find that IP address, you can either change it in the screen, or you have to go through the steps of changing your laptop so that it's on the same network as your reader. And how you do that is you go to the Network and Sharing Center, and you you go to local area connection, you go to properties, and I'm going kind of quick because obviously this is a video. You can pause and do whatever you need to later, but you go to IP4, and right now I've got my laptop set to static IP, but and that's what you would do too. You would pull up TerraTerm or PuTTY. I think as I close it out, and you would find the IP address. Let's say that the reader said it was 192.168.1.100. Well, you would put yours 192.168.1.anything. It doesn't matter. You can't use 100, of course, but you can use anything else. And then make sure your subnet mask, which is also TerraTerm will show you that for the reader, is the same for your laptop. And once both of those are the same, then you can access your reader and easily change the IP address, or even just leave your laptop the way it is then, and your reader will work just fine. But once your reader and your laptop are on the same network, and I know this is getting complicated, but I didn't want to not cover it and try to have to explain it by phone. But once your reader and your laptop are on the same network, then you can just copy this one. You can connect to your reader through the web interface. It's actually HTTP. And this is the 7400 I have attached. You can type in admin and change. That's the default username and password. Hit enter, and then inside here you've got all kinds of options. You can change the IP address of the reader, change the subnet mask. You can turn DHCP on or off. Like I said, by default it's on. So you probably, everything I've shown you here, hopefully you don't have to touch it all. However, if you had a reader you just could not connect to, I won't show you how to change it. The FX9500 has its own web interface, and it of course uses the same username and password. And then here you can do the same as we saw. You can change the IP address, set it, DHCP on or off, do all kinds of settings in here. So everything you'd ever need to set with a reader, you can get into the web console. Now hopefully, it's extremely rare, if ever, that I need to get into here. I just wanted to show you what all options are available in case you ever find yourself with a reader you can't connect to, or that you need to see if there's any kind of settings that you can dig into that aren't available through my program. Like I said, I've never had to change a setting in here at all. But anyways, I wanted to show you those. But okay, so once you've got the readers in the system, like I said, both of these are using the host name. You can use this new feature called the testing center. You click on it, and it pulls up this form. It tries to connect each reader, and you'll see where it says connected. Now I don't have the alien reader attached right now, but so it looks like I've got two 7400s, and it looks like I'm reading tags. Let me get these tags out of the way. So I've got two 7400s, and if I click on each one, sorry, I've got one 9500 and a 7400, but this will show you which antennas are attached. And then, of course, as you saw, it started reading tags right away, and you can see what all those tags. Looks like I have tag 13 here. I got a whole box. I'm surprised I don't got some more. You can see what tags it was reading. Let me clear this out. Percent. There we go. Quite a few. And so, so here it shows me all the tags that were being read, and it shows me which antenna picked it up and what date and time it saw it. And so this is a really good feature, so that you can see, if you've got a potential antenna that may be not working. I've found that with Motorola readers, you can't trust these little green lights here. The Motorola reader will tell you it's attached, even though it'll tell you it's attached if it has any kind of connection to the reader itself at all on that port. However, if your cable is bad and you're not really getting any power to the antenna, it won't tell you that. All it knows is that something is attached to it. And so you can use the little testing center down here to wave a tag in front of each antenna and see if it appears. It looks like I got the TR200 attached too, so I've got 3 readers, 9 total antennas attached right now. But, so anyways, that's how to add as many readers as you want. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but you for sure want to use a router instead of a switch like I did. When it comes to race time, of course, let's just open up a quick race. It worked the same. Managed it up again. I'll put these out. I didn't know I started the race earlier. F2. So, if you wanted to, before the race, you can actually turn the readers on and test the system out. You can have someone run through or just throw a tag in front of it, and what you'll see is that little man in the top corner here and right here. When you present tags, it turns green, and it tells you when the system is reading tags. Now, if you hold a bunch of tags in front of it for a long time, it will eventually turn red. And what that tells you is that it's having trouble processing all the tags that it sees. Now, I've programmed it to where any new tags that come in to the finish line while, let's say you've got 10 people that are just standing right in front of your antennas. I programmed it to where it will store that whole history of every time, it reads their tags. However, it always gives priority to new tags that come across. So even if you've got 20 or 30, 40 people standing in front of your antennas, if the system sees a brand new tag, it will instantly put that person in the results and do everything just like it normally should, it normally would. And so I made the little man turn red, though, just in case you wanted to be aware of tags that are in the area that the reader's having to process. So that what happens, by the way, is since we have this checked off, the store RFID activity, it will keep a full history of every tag that was read and when it saw it and when antenna picked it up. So if you wanted to see a full history on, let's say, bid number 60, which I don't know if I read that one or not, but I didn't. Let me find another one. Let's say 9235. 235. So if you want to see a full history of every time that tag was read, you just type in that bid number. Now these are unprogrammed tags, so that's why it's kind of a bunch of gibberish, but you would type in that bid number and it would show you every time it was read and which antenna picked it up. Now if you wanted to save this history, you just right click on it and do export to Excel or export to text file. And of course you can do the same for every tag in the system. If you don't clear this out, when you close the program out for good, it'll clear that history for you to make sure your database doesn't get hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of records in it that it doesn't need. But so anyways, that's kind of the tag history. Of course, if you started the race right now, it would turn your readers off for you. So I just now started the race, and let's say that a few minutes after the race starts, you decide to turn the readers on. Now I'm going to go ahead and clear this. I don't have to, but I'm going to. If you don't really care about the history of all the tag reads, you can uncheck that. It may, I've never noticed a difference in performance, but it's obviously a little less work that the system has to do. Let me actually click over here so you can see when new finishers come. But now the RFID system's turned on, and as I present tags, you can see some results coming in. Let me present some more. And so anyways, that's kind of how the multi-reader system works. Like I said, you can have as many readers attached as you want. It may be tempting to buy a FX 9500 compared to a 7400 because the 9500 has 8 ports instead of 4. But I recommend the 7400, like buying 2 of those instead of one 9500 because the 9500 is almost twice the cost, and the only thing you're getting is 4 more antennas. So I would rather have 2 7400s, which means you have 2 separate devices, so if one goes down, the other one's still reading. And also, that allows you to place 4 antennas in one area, and then another 4, up to, probably a couple hundred feet away if you wanted to. Now, you would use a power over Ethernet adapter on each device, if you wanted to get these readers really far away from each other. But, with 2 7400s, you have a whole lot more flexibility. So I would go with that. Thinkific is about to come out with a new reader that is going to be the recommended reader for the system. It has the same, if not better, performance as the 7400, and it's going to be quite a bit cheaper. So, if you're needing a system next year and you're not needing to rush, I would probably wait for that reader. It's going to be an awesome device when it comes out. But anyways, that's kind of how to attach multiple readers at the same time. Hopefully you'll never need to get into that Teraterm stuff we were looking at earlier, but I guess if you have any questions, just give me a call or shoot me an email.